And that night, I saw videos and I saw people walking around with the tag, I'm a kidney donor. And another guy's walking around, I'm a recipient. I was like, wow. I was 30 years old at the time. And I told my wife, why don't I donate a kidney? I can't believe you really want to go through this? I'm like, yeah. He's like, you're not drunk?
None of your business, Ushy. None of your business, Michael.
It's the None of Your Business podcast, hosted by Michael and Ushy.
Welcome back, everybody, to another amazing episode of the None of Your Business podcast. Thank you for joining. I'm your host, Michael Greenfield. Joined with me is Ushy Schwartz. This episode is sponsored by the Serenity Healthcare Center, which we'll get into later during our commercial break. And of course, the Prime Source production team. Thank you to all of our followers and listeners. We ask you to please subscribe, comment, get involved. We enjoy your feedback, and we're growing together on our journey. Today, we are joined by the person that told me my first dirty joke when I was in sleepaway camp and I was 9 years old. Tomer Naftali, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
You're one of the most spiritual people I know. And
right.
So journey. So like, what was that like?
It was definitely a beautiful, I don't want to call it a roller coaster because it wasn't a roller coaster, but as soon as we moved to the States, I was sent to public school. Actually, I was sent to yeshiva. I went to Hawk, Hebrew Academy of West Queens. I was there for a year. I couldn't stand it. I hated it. So much so that I took, in the bakery, they would have, or the pizza shops, they would wrap the pizza box with a white string. I would take those strings and put them here in the sides. So it was tzitzis. Because we had a very annoying teacher that would come in every day and check, are you wearing tzitzis? So we just check the strings. So that's what I had because I couldn't stand it. I hated it.
That's terrible. The teacher would actually check.
Yeah. That, and she would say, time for dominating. And it was so hated. I mean, as a kid in second grade who has no connection whatsoever to going to yeshiva. And when I remember being in kindergarten and we had I grew up in Rishon LeZion, and we had a fence. It was a shared building, and there was a fence. One side is the non-religious, and the other side was the religious. And they used to tell us that the religious people are smelly. So this, growing up, like, why would I want to associate or be connected to a smelly kid? And some kids had dirt coming out of their ears. I mean, whatever. They were just not well maintained. That could very well be also with a regular guy. So growing up, I was like, I want to stay away from these guys.
From religious people.
And then when we came here, all of a sudden you're like, there's nothing bad. And we were in a religious neighborhood in Queens, Kew Garden Hills. So I started making friends. And then from there, I actually started putting on kippah and tzitzis in public school. No, I finished 5th grade.
You left Hawk and you went to public school?
I left Hawk. I went to public school 3rd, 4th, 5th.
Wow.
And in the middle of 4th, I put on a kippah and tzitzis. And it was a whole year and a half that I was, already practicing religion. And then some holy soul, a Jew. I would actually mention his name because he's an incredible guy. Rabbi Newman from Queens. He put me into Darchei Torah. He put me into yeshiva. And, from there, it's all history.
So your parents weren't religious?
My parents weren't religious, and they came in.
Why did you decide in 4th, 5th grade that you want to suddenly put on a kippah? Like, how
my siblings, my older siblings, who went to Ezra Academy. If you heard of Ezra Academy, they're incredible. They really help people. They had one of the best rebbeim then was Reb Moshe Weinberger from Aish, from Woodmere. And he got my sister on board to become religious. And then my sister started keeping Shabbos. My mother had to kasher the kitchen, and we started having to make cholent and Friday night meals. It became more official. And then I told my sister, I love this. I want to keep Shabbos with you. I want to bench with you. I want to, and that got me into it. And from there, it became yeshiva, and then from yeshiva we started rolling. We
don't know this life, Ushy.
Yeah,
the phenomenon. And we just met someone recently who's in his 20s, who was living at home, and no one in his family is observant, and he's doing it on his own. I think it's amazing that a family allows you, your parents allowed you to live there.
My parents allowed it.
Yeah.
Not only that, they put on, when now you're going back and you're thinking about it. Wow. To put in a Shabbos clock so the lights could turn on and off. And I remember my brother, he would, bedavka, shut off the light in the bathroom. And I went on, I got one of those Shabbos protectors, and he would take it off. He would try to, a sibling rivalry.
Your brothers do. That's what it's for.
Normal. It's normal. But the fact that my parents got me the, that Shabbos, I remember this, but there was a push button and you turn it and you set it and,
Those are always very,
yeah.
a little button.
You still see them in Brooklyn in some old house over there, you'll find it.
On, is it off? When I built my house, by the way, I created a Shabbos clock room that everything is controlled from one room. You have that?
Not only do I not have that, I have never in my life used a Shabbos timer, a Shabbos clock ever on anything. Even when I was growing up, ever. I've never used one, never been in one, never used one. A light that's on, it stays on. It's off, it stays off, and goodbye. Have a nice day.
Do you remember the Shabbos clock pins? Remember they had that little plastic pins, and you had they came out, and if you lost it, you couldn't use the Shabbos clock ever. You're like running around right before Shabbos clock. I need a black pin to turn it back on. I need the on.
Why is he talking?
Hit the sit there. Haven't had the ability to say or do whatever he wants, but that's an amazing background. I can dive deep into that for hours. And
we could,
but keep forwarding us up a little bit and telling us how you got to where you are today.
All right. So then Muncie called. I was introduced to Muncie and I fell in love. I called it Muncie Ira Kodesh. This is what Muncie was like. Wow. I remember my sister and my brother-in-law. They brought me up on one, and we're talking about Albert Drive. And I was like, wow, I was so fascinated. I'm like, first of all, the space and the beauty was summer. It was really, really nice. And then I was like, okay, I want to go to yeshiva over here. And I got myself into yeshiva. I went to Beis Shraga. Yeah.
All right, so after Beis Shraga.
After Beis Shraga, I went to Israel for a little bit, came back. I learned graphic design. And
when did you get married?
Got married, I was 21. I got married on my birthday.
On your birthday?
Yeah. 21.
Nice.
I met my wife in Muncie. It's actually pretty fascinating story how we met. I came to Muncie to help an organization. I had a friend, Ron Kreisel. Maybe you know him.
I know him.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So his father had an organization that he worked for, Arachim. Arachim, they help people to, kiruv and all that. And he said to me, Tomer, I know you're not shy, you're not embarrassed, you're a good fundraiser. I need you here on Purim in Muncie. I told him, listen, it's a Thursday. My parents are having their meal in Brooklyn. If you can make sure that I get a ride back on Purim Day, so I'll drive you. Fine, no problem. If you're going to drive me, I'm in. So I came to Muncie on Wednesday afternoon. We had the, whatever it is. We went collecting, me and him, and whatever we did good. And then 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I think like Shkia's at 5:30 roughly, we already driving towards Pascack Road, getting on from Old Nyack Turnpike onto the highway. As we're about to enter the highway, he says, we have to turn around. I'm like, what for? We forgot to say Freilich and Purim to my parents who are having a meal by the Luzon family. Are you kidding? Send them a beeper. We didn't have phones back then. Like, stop by get a payphone and send them a beep. Happy Purim. So we go.
Everybody needs to understand what that means. Go on, then.
We turned around, get all the way right near Or Samech on Gel Court.
Opposite side of where you were, yep.
And we came there, and that's where I met my wife.
Whoa, what happened? She was just sitting there?
She came from Montreal for Purim.
Yeah.
She's there. She had she dressed up like a bear, so she had like polka dots on her face and whatever. I did not say hello to her, but I asked the lady, or the lady who I used to be Ben biased by that house.
Okay.
And I'm like, who is that? She's like, Tomale. She's great. She's your wife. She's your wife. That's it. Go. I was like, what are you talking about? She called my mom that night, told her, get her on the phone. I went out with her on Sunday for the first time. This was Purim night. It was Thursday night. We went out on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Shabbat. We spent the whole Shabbat. I came to Monday. I proposed about the Shabbos.
1 week.
1 week.
1 week.
1 week.
I've ever heard of that. That's stayed with your wife for 1 week?
1 week.
That's insane.
And that was it.
I mean, we have a lot of listeners, by the way, that are not Jewish. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of like,
But even by our standards, 1 week is very, very fast.
above, what we're going to hear about.
Yeah, but then of course, her parents were opposed because she's Ashkenaz and I'm Sephardic. She's from Bnei Brak, so the background,
Again,
What kind of Sephardic are you?
Syrian. You're Syrian, Turkish.
Now, Syrian Turks usually marry into Syrians only, or can you go to Persia?
You could do whatever you want. Today you could do whatever you want.
I'm asking in general.
In general, you're not. What's accepted is that you really should not intermingle because the cultural differences could really become a challenge.
Ushy, your story matters. Let's talk is the slogan for our newest sponsor, the Serenity Center, which is a clinic for therapy and many other types of services that people need for mental health challenges. And I have to tell you that I did not want them to be a sponsor of ours until I tested them myself. And I sat down as a session paid by my insurance with the leader, Mordechai Weinberger, this person who has a radio show. He has live Zoom conferences with hundreds and thousands of people tuning in every single week. The reason why they do is because he is amazing. I sat with him for over an hour and I got the most out of it. And let me tell you, I did a lot of talking. He did a lot of listening. And I learned that the Serenity Center is a clinic that provides a service for therapy that's led and supervised by Mordechai Weinberger. And I see why they're so successful. And it's just something that, we need to mention more of. And I want the community of Rockland County and even beyond to know that if you need therapy, don't wait and push it off because it might be too expensive or you may not be aware of the perfect therapist. Go to Serenity Center, try them out. Insurance will most likely cover most, if not all, the charges, and you will get top-level service.
sounds like a no-brainer to me. See, that was your first job was marketing, printing,
Graphic design.
graphic design.
Yep.
And you were the actual graphic designer.
I was a designer.
You had a company. You had people working for you.
I would say that
I had people working for me. Yeah, back then.
Back then, if any couple was getting married, they wanted to work on an invitation, he would sit there and curate the logo and figure out the words. And
I did everything for them. I mean, I would meet people in the store and I see a couple that were just engaged. I'm like, here's my card. You're getting married. You need a wedding invitation. And believe it or not, people called me from that.
Of course. But you said you were laid off, so that's before you had this business?
Right. Yes. It was before I had the business. I was working for someone, and I found out later on that he was actually borrowing from a gmach for 3 months to cover my salary.
Oh,
Very, very nice.
Oh.
Great guy. And I felt bad. And he, at some point, even 6 months prior to that, he offered me either go off on your own, or he said he was offered a job by some big marketing company. And he's like, I'll go and you run my business. And that's where I got more involved. And that's at least where I had a little bit of the experience to run a business. I don't know, what do we need? $20,000, buy a Mac, buy a printer, a little inkjet and a scanner. And, and we'll get
you
started.
started your business by yourself.
Started by yourself.
How old were you at the time?
22.
And you were just married, have one kid?
Just married. And then 3 weeks later, we had a kid. And thank God, it spiraled, Baruch Hashem, from there. Many clients later. Actually, one of my biggest clients was Mati Sushard from Gateways organization. I actually helped him 4 years prior to run a seminar, one of his first seminars that he ran here when he was still with Arachim. And then we met one day in the cleaners, Mazal Cleaners, next to Mandarin. And we met over there. He's like, "Oh, Tomer, how are you?" And I told him I do graphic design. He's like, "Oh, I have an organization. I need brochures. I need stuff." And from that, so he was one of my biggest clients.
he's
He's one of the first organizations, in Rockland County.
not just making an organization and Kiruv and rabbis inspiration, but also one of the first Haysock programs.
Yeah.
One of the programs that the organization turned into a program.
Yeah.
And then the program supported the organization, and they just evolved. Now they have buildings in Manhattan
In Tel Aviv. Phenomenal. He does incredible work. And
kick off your
so he helped kick off my business. And I'll tell you at some point, very, very interesting, because some people, and this is part of the spirituality. I we have it. It's ingrained in our blood system. Stream, but we also need to constantly work on bitachon and emunah and so on. And whatever happens is for the best. Always. Even things that you think that are not good. Okay, and why don't I give you an example from a movie that I just recently saw? I don't know. I don't remember the name. I'm bad with
I
things.
love where you're going with this.
Yeah. Well, you're about to bring inspiration. I'm eventually going to talk about rabbi or some safe.
And I'm telling you from a movie.
From a movie. Okay.
Okay.
I like your style. Go ahead.
Two girls that are renting and they live in a dump. I'll remember the name. It's called.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Anyway, they live in a dump, and the guy came to evict them. Where's the rent money? I gave it to her. I gave it to him. Whatever. The guy ended up stealing the money, and they had from 10 o'clock in the morning. They had till 6 p.m. to come up with the money. $1,500. They did whatever they could to try to come up with the money. They ended up finding shoes hanging on the street, and they sold it, and they got the money. They made $2,500. Now they had the money, and then some other girl came and beat them up and took the money. The girlfriend of the boy, whatever. Anyway, they don't have the money by 6 p.m. They show up, and the guy emptied out their house. They're like, "What do you mean you told us by 6 p.m.?" He says, "Well, I knew you're not going to come up with the money, so I already evicted you." So they put them out on the street, and at that moment, you're like thinking to yourself, like, how much worse can it get? But I was like thinking to myself, everything is for the best. And what happened? One of the girls is an artist, but she didn't succeed. She wasn't doing anything, but now her art was outside on display. And some girl, one of the new tenants that came, she saw it. She's like, I love this. $3,500. Boom. And all of a sudden she was like, let's make a show. And they made an art gallery that night, and they made tons of money. And I'm like, look at that. So from one thing that's bad, and that was like being put out on the street, it's really for your best. So every situation is like that in life.
Yeah.
Things that sometimes seem. So where am I leading with this over here? We were renting for a few years in Spring Valley, and we get a call from the owner. I'm selling the house, so you guys have to leave. And my wife was like, where are we going to go? What are we going to do? I told her, everything is for the best. We're going to go look for a house to buy. And we actually looked on Kenter Lane, at 6 Kenter Lane, where Akoka used to live. And I don't know if you know them. And we looked at that one. That wasn't good for us. And the next Sunday, we saw the house across the street, 5 Kenter Lane. My wife had some money put away from her childhood, her parents saved, or whatever. But we needed, so we had 20, and I'm like, okay, we'll get another 20, 10%. The house was $400,000. Beautiful. You need 10%. My mortgage broker calls me, and he says, it's better if you get 20% down. I'm like, where am I getting 20%? So here comes an unbelievable mahala. I don't even know if I could say that publicly, but you know what? It's okay. I called up a client, and of an organization, not Sushard, but Sushard actually is the one who introduced me to this client. And they were like American friends. So they have an organization in Israel and they have an organization over here. And I called them up and I said, I need $50K. Would you loan it to me and I'll pay you back through printing services and designs? He says, yeah, sure. Come tomorrow. Come pick up a check. I was like, what?
Wow.
And to top it off, he tells me, I don't want you to pay it back every invoice that you invoice them, because we were doing a lot of work for them. And he says, I don't want you to pay it back all at one lump sum. Every invoice that you invoice us, you will deduct 20% towards the loan, and then the rest you could keep for yourself. Within 2 years, I paid off the whole loan.
What a bench.
What a bench. And then he got laid off. I mean, he was like 90, literally 90 years old. He got sent home. Now he was the emeritus of the company. And they changed over, and they stopped using us. And I told my wife, this is exactly what Mordechai told Esther. This is the reason why you came to this position. I said, the reason they were our clients was so that we could actually put down the money for the house, pay them back, and be, completely clean. Anyway, that I think was very, very nice.
No, that's phenomenal. What a story. There are some good people in this world, There are some people that do really nice things for other people. I mean, this client of yours, he didn't have to do that. And it's also very risky business, because if you're paying it back from what you're invoicing, you could start maybe inflating some of the prices. And I don't know how honest It could be, but he trusted you. I imagine he trusted
Yeah,
you.
they trust me. They scrutinized everything. They knew everything that's going on.
That's a really nice story. You mentioned your wife had some money saved up. What does that mean? How did she have that money saved up?
From her childhood. I don't know. I don't,
$20,000 from babysitting that
from her grandparents. She was a child. Her grandparents opened up a savings account. Usually that's what you do when you have a child that's born. So she had that.
a savings account.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what you mean. My grandmother didn't leave me a savings account.
Yeah,
that's really nice.
it was very, very nice.
Do people do that? Is that normal?
I mean, everyone has a little bit of a different flavor of how they do things, but people save money for their kids. I remember my dad, he actually gave me an option when I first got married. And he said to me, I'll either give you $15,000 for a ring, or whatever the amount was for the ring and the setting and so on.
Yeah.
Or I'll give you $5,000. You buy yourself a less expensive ring, but I'll give you $20,000 to buy your first house. What do you pick? And he had money saved up for me. And at the time, we decided together, she got a $5,000 ring.
And they gave you $20,000 towards your
house, because I made the decision that the house was more important together, obviously. I didn't do it alone. But everybody does something different. I think that, especially if you have a friend that's a life insurance salesman, I'm sure he'll tell you to save up for your child or buy life insurance for your 4-year-old kid and save up over.
That's really nice. You're very, very fortunate, yeah.
But it's interesting to me.
Not everybody has that.
It's interesting to me that, Tomer, she's asking you, give me a moment that defines you and you're picking your business.
There's not defines you. The first moment that he made his mark.
Oh, he made his mark.
Yeah, first, what's his entranceway into the adult world?
I love that, because you went into this business and then COVID came and then you pivoted and then you started this whole new business line. And like you're saying, everything happens for a reason. I would love to hear that process. Like you definitely have a great marketing head. You're a salesman. You know how to connect with. You see a person in a store and then you find out they're engaged and. Do you go to dating spots and is that something that you did also?
I don't know what you're talking about. I know you know his story already, but I have no idea about anything that you just said.
That's what I'm saying.
So you had this printing business. Then what happened?
That's my point. I'm saying you should take us forward. And
yeah.
All right.
Were you successful in this printing company?
Very successful in the printing business.
How much did you make in the biggest year when you were doing this printing company?
The biggest.
What was the biggest year you had? I'm just trying to get a sense of what kind of revenue we're talking about.
I mean, let's just say, until I was doing printing, it was only design, and that was bringing in about less than $100K a year. As soon as I opened up the printing business, that was in 2006, the sales almost quadrupled from year to year. Meaning the first year we were doing like 400, between 400 and 500. The next year I was already at 1.2, and that it kept on going up and up. And then at some point,
what was your height?
I think it was like 1.5.
Wow.
Roughly. And then from there it started to decline. Everybody goes through roller coasters in life.
Yeah. Did you like it? Did you love what you did?
I loved what I did. I loved what I did because you get to actually see a product that you created. It's your brainchild. I created something, and then that thing was something.
Would you be shocked to know that you did the invitations for my wedding?
I would not be shocked.
Yeah, you did. You did invitations for my wedding.
I did invitations, and you know what I do? I tell people I go to their children who are now getting married. I'm like, you're alive because of me. There.
I don't know about that. But
no invitations, no wedding, no child.
Yeah. All right. Everybody settle down. They're not curing cancer over here. But that's pretty cool. So how long did you do this thing for, and what happened?
So we did the invitation. We were in the invitation industry till 2020, till COVID.
Is there even industry now? Like, I know when people...
Believe it or not, there is. People went back to paper.
It's like via WhatsApp.
Yeah, WhatsApp, a lot of that.
Sends out hard copy invitations.
Believe it or not, our mailboxes are...
That's what people do. They want to get a check.
Our mailboxes are full because they realize that doing that the wedding registry barely works. The WhatsApp...
Is that right? Am I right, though, in saying that? That people really want to send physical invitations? Yeah. Because they want to get a check.
I never send a check with the return card.
Well, some people do.
When I show up to the wedding, I'll bring a check with me.
Yeah.
Some people do. Believe it or not, there's a nice amount of money that comes, and it's for the kids, by the way.
How much money did you make at your wedding?
At our wedding, we made 10K.
10? Nice. Actually, I made 6.
Okay.
I made 3. Yeah, so apparently I suck, or I have very stingy friends and family members. But I made $3,000. That's it.
People make
and I spent it in like the first 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I'm just living. I didn't have a lot of money when I got married. It was like, on my own.
Who had money?
Yeah.
Who had money? Like your most expensive bill was Verizon.
Your life was so much simpler then.
It was.
I had so much less.
50 contacts on your phone. That's it. You can't have any more. You X'd out at 50. I had more than 50. So you know that I still remember phone numbers from back then because you had to memorize numbers. Sure. I remember numbers of vendors, of family members. I even remember my old phone number. Go ask me today what my daughter's number is. Oh, I don't know what her number is.
You want to hear something very
Do you know your daughter's number?
We're talking about like wedding money, bar mitzvah money, right? The kids who turn 13, usually they get, I don't know how much they get, like on average, $3,000, $4,000, something like that. Some of my friends told me they got like $15,000, $20,000 at their bar mitzvah, which is wild to me that they get that much money. But I only discovered years later that it was very normal for people, for bar mitzvah boys, that they kept the money, that the money was for them and they got to use it, or their parents made them put it away and they used it, later on when they got married. I didn't keep my money. My parents actually took the money from me the night of the bar mitzvah. I didn't even get to count how much money it was. They took the money from me. And when I was like talking about my friends later on, I'd be like, really? Like you didn't keep the money? I'm like, no. And I thought it was normal. I only started feeling bad about myself much later. At the time, I didn't think it was such a big deal, but apparently in Hasidim, in the Hasidic world, it's very common. They take the bar mitzvah money from the kid, and they use that to pay some of the bills from the bar mitzvah thing. And in the non-Hasidic world, it's not common. It's actually considered like a little, it's an insult. Like, it's the kid's money. Like, even if the parents don't have money, even if they have to borrow money to make a bar mitzvah, they will not take the kid's money, which I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know. Like, does the parents have the right to take the money? Should they not take the money? Like, Mike, what's your feeling on that?
You know that if a kid wins money in a lawsuit, the parents have the right to use the money to help the kid live, right? So you could use, let's say a kid, something happens to him, and there's a lawsuit, and there's earnings of $100,000 off the lawsuit. So what do? Do you give the kid the money, or do
you put it away for the kid?
If you can't live and you need that money, what do you do? So that's the question that comes up.
Interesting.
In these discussions that I've had before. But legally, you're allowed to use.
Sometimes the parents are desperate. Sometimes they don't have them. They don't have money, and if they got access to it in this way, and they feel like justified in using it, I guess. Yeah. But doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean it's right, and it's a little bit of a controversial topic. Parents feel like sometimes entitled to their kids whatever until they're like married, until they're on their own. Like everything you do is mine, right? You're living under my house, but I think that's an old school mentality. Like I wouldn't do that for my kids. I mean, I should never need to. I should never know of it.
Right.
I feel like I would feel very dirty, like taking my kids' bar mitzvah money. I feel like I'd feel dirty doing that.
I guess it depends how much they made.
Hey, you know what? I think every family has their own, situation and how they handle it and how they decide. I heard of one family, since I met people with invitations. So they would say, we don't allow you to open the gift until you sit down and write a thank you note. Of course, it's all.
Yeah.
You have to have gratitude.
That sounds
yeah, that's very nice. You cannot cash the check until you
teach appreciation.
Sorry.
Yeah. Have gratitude. And you know what? I just saw something right now.
Right. I hope my parents did. I hope everybody. But I definitely do.
Gratitude is called an avodah. The avodah, it's a work. It's a something you have to work on because not everybody has it naturally to be grateful. You have to constantly work on being grateful.
Being grateful. Tomer, I'm very grateful that you're in my life. And one of the things that I know about you that Ushy doesn't, and if it's okay with you, I want to talk about the idea of being grateful. You call me up a lot for different, organizations to support and to be a part of. We'll get back to that in a minute because I have a problem with that, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But besides that, though, you called me once and you said, "Yeah, come. We're having a party for somebody who almost didn't live and they survived." And I came to the party and we're eating all this delicious Syrian food and so on. I turned to the guy and I said, "So what's your deal?" He goes, "What do you mean, what's my deal? Tomer gave me his kidney."
Wow.
And I'm like, "What? What are you talking about? What? How much did he get paid for it? What do you say? What? How do you know him? Is he your brother? What?"
Total stranger. Total stranger.
Help me through that. I've never actually asked you this story and I don't know it. And since that moment, I was like, whoa, newfound respect for you. Like, okay, it's interesting to know, but I was always scared to ask this story and go through this with you, but here we are. So I'd love to hear it.
Wedding invitations. That's where it started, with a wedding invitation for Mendy and Daniela Sabo. 8 years later, she sends me an email. She says, I'm doing a party event for renewal, and I'd like you to print the flyers and the postcards and the tickets. I read the email and I said, wow, it sounds like a very worthy organization. We're talking about they're going back to 2011. And it was in the summer, in August. And I said to her, I replied back, I said, you know what? Sounds like a very good organization. I'm going to donate all the printing, the flyers and whatever it is. She says, wow, thank you. I'm giving you 2 tickets to come to the event. So to make a long story short, we came to the event. It was wine tasting and food. It was in Piermont. It was so beautiful. I fell in love with Piermont. Piermont to me is like you just go and chill, watch the bridge and the water. It's very relaxing and calming. And that night I saw videos and I saw people walking around with a tag, I'm a kidney donor, and another guy's walking around, I'm a recipient. I was like, wow. I was 30 years old at the time. And I told my wife, why don't I donate a kidney? Like, well, we're saving lives. This sounds like a really, really nice thing. I took Menachem Friedman's number. He's one of the directors of Renewal. And I told, first I gave him my card. And I said, we cannot call you. You got to call us. The next day, it was Friday morning. I called him. He's like, Tomer, I'm never in my office on a Friday. And I said, he's like, I can't believe you really want to go through this. I'm like, yeah. He's like, you're not drunk anymore? I'm like, no, I'm not. So they sent me the forms. I then had to do blood work. So I went to Dr. Friedman, Benjamin Friedman. He was right across the street from us. He did my blood work. I overnighted it. And within a week, we got back the results. And they said that I match a guy who's been 17 years on dialysis. He has 33 antibodies, and you have 30. And you're the closest match possible. The guy's 17 years has been waiting. And I told my wife, I'm like, are you kidding?
I'm sorry, I don't know what that means for antibodies.
Okay. Let's just say you have prongs. Like over here, you have on all these, the back of the computer. You have the prong, and then it goes in. Okay, antibodies are in your immune system. They protect you from certain sicknesses. Most people will have 8, 10, 12, 15, whatever. This guy, Ronen, he received, when he was 17 years old, he received a kidney from a cadaver. That's a dead person who just passed or had a car accident, which is not the best form of kidney, receiving a kidney, because it's the body went through a shock. He had it for 3 years. That kidney raised his antibody levels in his body to 33 from whatever number he had prior. I don't know. It doesn't make a difference. So basically, if you're putting in a foreign object in somebody's body, those are going to reject it. 33 antibodies, and if you put another guy who has 15, it's not gonna. The prong won't fit.
Won't connect. Yeah,
it won't connect. So it's going to be a reject. The doctor said we're going to be able to handle the 3 by giving an anti-reject injection, and very, very quickly we went through with it. I called up the rabbis. I introduced myself to Rabbi Mansour at that time for the first time. It was at that time when I was.
You met Rabbi.
I met him a little bit before, but then I called him. I told him, listen, I'm your student. And it spiraled from there. And Baruch Hashem, we have a very good connection today. Driving in on Fridays and going in, keeping a steady connection with the rabbi, which was very important to me, because in Muncie we didn't really have. You don't have anybody to really connect with at the time. Going back to 2011, and Baruch Hashem, we saved the guy's life. We went through it.
Let's get this time straight. So you thought of the first time you even were.
I didn't even know what a kidney was.
Right. Like this concept of donating a kidney was just born a couple of weeks before that, right? When you went to the renewal event,
Correct.
right? They called you to do the graphic designs. Oh, sounds like a nice organization. I'll do it for free. They invited you. You show up there. You get inspired by all these other people. You say, I also want to do it. I want to give a kidney. And then, like the next few days, you give blood work and you're tested.
Blood work, and you're tested, and then
they find a match within a week or two. They find a match for another person, and
Right.
also a very rare match.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
They realize like, wow, this person's been waiting for a long time. We didn't think we were able to find someone. Now we're finding you, and then you start going into the
Columbia. You got to go to Columbia Hospital. You have to meet with a social worker. You have to meet with psychiatrist,
Right.
psychologist.
They got to make sure your mind.
They got to make sure you're clean. Why are you doing this?
Right.
How are you doing? How is anybody paying you?
Yeah.
And of course, I'm like, no one's paying me. I'm doing this altruistically. I really want to help this guy, and I feel like I'm saving a life. And I know my children are going to learn from this over here. And it's a lesson that they'll never forget. By the way, my boys and my daughters who were around. I had 4 kids at the time. They will never forget that we all together. And obviously, I had my wife to back us up. If your wife is not on board, forget about it.
Sure.
You know, you could have your mother saying, don't do it, you know. But, and my mother,
Just teach
my
a
mother,
lesson to your 4 kids. I'm teaching a lesson right now to me and Michael both sitting here, and to anybody that's listening. I'm like super inspired right now. I think that you might not be so human after all. Like there's something wrong with you.
you know, so
Because us humans, like we are hardwired to care about ourselves first, and especially in a dangerous situation.
Right.
Is our natural reflex is to first just take care of ourselves. So if we're like hanging on a cliff and there's somebody next to us hanging on a cliff, like I'm going to try to figure out how I survive, right? My first instinct isn't how do I help the next person survive, right? If I'm in a dangerous situation as well, that's how people are.
Right. That's how the planes tell you. First put on your mask and then...
Yeah, exactly. For safety reasons, that makes sense to do it that way. But when I think of donating a kidney, I'm thinking first thing, wait a second, like what kind of harm is that causing me if I'm going to be down 1 kidney? Like I know that they say that, you know, you don't need 2 kidneys, you need just 1. And if 1 fails, they both fail. So it's not even going to help you.
Exactly.
Right. But still, fact is that it's a process.
You went under.
It's difficult to do.
Yeah.
And they're opening you up. Once they cut you open, all bets are off. All bets are off. So it's a risk. It's still a risk.
It's definitely a risk. And by the way, I went in
Life at risk.
thinking I'm not going to wake up, by the way. I didn't know I was going to. I was like, forget it. They're putting me out and I might not even wake up.
Okay, Tomer, I want to take it up a notch. May I? I want to up the ante a little.
Go ahead.
I could understand and I could relate to you a little bit better if it was for somebody you know and for somebody you love that you're willing to take more risk.
Total stranger.
But for a stranger, somebody that you never met, to even take 1% risk for your own life is wild. It's totally, totally crazy. So I'm like shocked right now. I'm awe-inspired by how you did, and so quickly. In a couple of weeks, this is all happening rapidly. It's happening so quick, so fast. Like, who are you? What kind of, it doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, it doesn't make sense. Where is this coming from?
I also want to add to that, and I appreciate everything you're saying, Ushy. He keeps using the word "we donated."
Who's the we?
Who's the we?
Without the wife, you can't do it. Without the wife, you can't do it.
That it's like it's an effort of
It's a group effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand.
And also I had to involved in. And by the way, my employees at the time who were working for me, if they wouldn't be on board being able to handle the business, the printing that was going on at the time and the designs, you know, I'm the boss, I'm running the show, and I'm out. I was out for 5 weeks.
wow.
You have to recover.
Recovery.
Wow. They say it's harder for the person giving the kidney than the person receiving the kidney. It's a quicker recovery, pretty quick, they say, right? So what? So you don't know this person, and you decide to go through with it.
Were you able to meet this person?
Before
They right before the show. Yeah.
But you're allowed to? Is that a,
Yeah. No, I wanted to. I wanted to see him. I gave him a blessing, and
and he gets to see you also? How does that if you don't mind,
Yeah.
gets through that process?
so
Interesting. You said also that they make you call them. They say we're not going to call you.
right because they can't listen.
convincing people
Even if
to give kidneys.
have to run after.
Yes, people have to voluntarily on their own
Yeah.
call up and
Once
say,
you match and you say, I want to know who the person is. They don't tell you until the day.
They don't tell you. They just told me a first name, and I didn't know
"Did you know how old he was?"
until he was 39.
You knew that. That they tell you.
Yeah, they told me he was 39.
Tell you if it's a man. They tell you how old he is. They give you very basic details,
Very basic details.
and they give you the option to meet him, or you.
No, you cannot. You usually they don't want you to meet because they don't want you to have any regrets. You might have a
They
regret.
don't want you to meet.
And you know what I did? I went on Google and I said, you know what? Ronan, need kidney type blood O, and all of a sudden I found a video that he posted years prior from another organization in Israel.
You're very sneaky.
Wow.
And I was I was petrified because there must have been something wrong with the video. And his head in the video, the video was choppy. So he was like saying, hi, bro. And I was like, I'm giving a kidney to Wacko. Called the guy. I remember it was Oshana Rabba. I called the guy. I said, this guy's not normal. He's like, Tomer, I promise you, he's a normal guy. Like, the video must have been, there was a glitch in the video.
You know the reason why they don't want you to.
Exactly. This is the reason.
The word.
They don't want a chance of something happening that they get lit third and they change their mind.
And by the way, my mother was, she was totally scared. Naturally, my father was like, yeah, go do it. My father already
Anyone against it? And you're...
No one was against it. I mean, they were afraid. Renewal paid for my brother to come from Israel. They paid his ticket to come support the beat.
Yeah, of course. Makes sense.
Which is very, very nice. So he came. He was here for a week.
So the day of is when you get to meet this Ronan.
The day of, right? And then as things would be at that time, for 3 days before the surgery, we had a storm, and all power. We had no electricity. We had to actually move to a hotel. I don't know if you remember that in 2011. It was October. Yeah, it was October 29th, and it snowed, and there were still leaves on the trees all over Muncie. Trees started falling everywhere, and power lines were down. It was the most crazy time. And now where are you going? My wife is like, if we're not getting electricity, you're not doing it. It's like, where am I going to be, in a hotel? And you're in surgery. What am I doing with the kids? And so on and so. It was difficult, but thank God that it came back on. But that was Shabbat, and the thing was on Thursday, November 3rd.
You're in the hospital. The first time you met.
What was that meeting like when you met him?
The meeting was very emotional. We met. They brought him into the room. We were ready in our robes, and I have pictures. I don't have it here. I actually have it on my phone. I'll find it.
Share with us.
Yeah,
that's okay with you.
Yeah, and I met him. We hugged, and we cried, and I gave him a bracha, birkat kohanim, and we just shared a few moments, and I wished him luck. I said, it should go well.
Were you nervous? Were you scared?
I don't think I was nervous. Like I said, I was walking in thinking that I'm going to not wake up from this thing. I've never been put out before. So I had no idea what to expect. I thought, I was like, goodbye.
So you didn't do a lot of research as to what the risks are?
I did.
You actually did thinking, soul searching.
I did. No, I knew that I'm doing the right thing. I knew that I had
2 weeks to decide to actually do it, and then till you did it.
It was like a week. No, you're talking about from August till November 3rd. 2011, November 3rd was the
actual procedure.
Yeah, exactly. And I had time to think about it, of course.
Yeah, but it took you very little time to say, I want to do it.
Right.
And then,
it's like I met my wife. How long did it take for me to decide to marry her?
Wow.
That was the right thing to do, and this was the right thing to do. I knew I'm saving a guy's life, and I'm like, if not for that. By the way, I don't know how many people actually could live for 17 years on dialysis. You look at the go Google. People maybe 10 years, 12 years tops.
Mm-hmm.
This guy did dialysis, a different type of dialysis, which was...
He was very young, this guy.
Yeah.
So he was getting dialysis
his whole life. Since he's 14 years old, by the way, he's been suffering from kidney disease.
Wow.
He really didn't have a life.
Was he married at the time, this guy?
He was single, and he got married a few years afterwards. And he had a child, only one child, and she's 4 years old now. Cutest thing.
So you have a relationship with him now till today?
Yeah.
Like you guys are close? You stay
close. We visit each other once in a while.
I mean, you have a piece of yourself inside of him.
Yeah. By the way, he would not be able to get another transplant after that because he has 2 of his own failed. Then he has the cadaver, and then he has mine. So he has 4 kidneys. Three are like 3 little things that are not functioning in his body.
But the average person that gets a kidney, do they end up having normal lives?
They definitely has a normal life.
Not normal life. Say they can live long. They can live.
I don't know how long it lasts.
Michael, you and I, by the way, should both just leave this room. We're terrible people. We're really bad people. For restraining order again. Yes, sir. You have a restraining order, okay?
I went to help somebody.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
Tomer, this is wild. This is like, I hope you can appreciate that a lot of people listening are going to feel bad about themselves as well. Because I don't know if I have it in me. I don't know if many people have it in them.
I don't know if I had it in me. Somebody showed me something. My name is Tomer, and it's the same. If you boggle the letters, it's Torim, donor.
Ah,
So that was very, always nice.
One of those.
Do you feel any different at all?
I was gonna say that.
today?
No,
Zero?
0.
Like you have the same strength, the same energy?
Same strength, same energy, more energy. I'm, always positive, forward thinking. So
Are you at risk for anything in the future because of the fact that you only have one kidney now? Or you have the same, like your status quo as if it was before?
nothing really changed. I mean, they always told me maintain your health, you lose weight, keep fit. So we're doing that, thank God.
Okay.
And
You look great.
thank you very much. And
Wow. So what, save one life, save the world, right? Isn't that what they say?
yeah.
Save one life, save the world. You did that. You literally did that. A guy like this has one place to go, only heaven.
I hope.
I mean, you hope you better. Otherwise, we're all out of luck here.
Get your pace. I'm grabbing onto his.
Oh my God, that's intense.
Anyway, so fast forward, so we got the COVID. There was no
We're
work.
going back to your life story.
Yeah, we're going back. We're going back. I'm back. I'm back. We're going back.
He's like, yeah, okay, let's move on. Okay, so that was my. So I did yesterday. Let me tell you about tomorrow. Go ahead. Yeah.
Came COVID, and there was literally no work, nothing to do. We were like 3 weeks before Pesach, and
There's no events. There's everything.
there's no events. Everybody, all the guys, my client that were doing their events. Pesach, usually Pesach is a busy time because you're doing, printing for the programs and so on and so forth, and everybody shut down. And I was Motzei Shabbat. I lit a candle. It was 12:30 at night. I lit a candle for Eliyahu Navi. One candle. I never did that before. And I just sat there and I said, God, please give me something. We need to do something. Help me. Pesach is coming and I just have no means. And then I said, okay, well, after you pray, you need to do some form of ishtadlut. You need to do some form of taking a step forward towards an act. So I looked online at some gadgets that could be appropriate for COVID. I saw a pouch that would be appropriate for nursing homes or be appropriate for landlords to give out to their tenants, to give out to the people. What's in the pouch? The pouch would have your logos put on it, and inside the pouch was a glove,
Kit.
a kit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm saying they call it.
Glove, a mask.
Yeah, it had a few things in there. Sanitizer,
Yeah.
COVID kit, beautiful.
And have your logo on it.
And it could have your logo on it, so that's great, fine, perfect. I posted that first time in my life that I posted anything on a status. At 1 a.m., I receive a response from a friend in Lakewood, and he says to me, Tomer, can you get me masks? I said, what kind of mask? He's like, the blue masks. I said, first of all, yes, of course I can, because it's not going to be a no. I could get you masks. And it's actually fascinating. So he told me that his wife is the purchasing director for 30 nursing homes, and they're desperately looking for masks. How much do they need? 350,000 masks. I'm like, okay, so let me find out. I'll get back to you in a few minutes. Luckily, already for over a year, I've had a relationship with with some lady. I've never met her, but her name is Sky Chen in China, and I was buying promotional items from her. So we had a relationship. So I texted her right through WeChat, and she said, "Yeah, I could get you masks." She sent me a picture, sent me the price. I sent it to them. By the time the morning came, they put the order through. And I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I should buy a little more. So I bought 500,000 masks. And then a few other people bought for me at that time. And the biggest challenge was how are you paying for this? Because I didn't have any money to pay for it. I needed almost $200K to fork it. That company said they're going to put the money in escrow by Madison Title. And a very good friend stepped up to the plate and he said, Tomer, I really want to help you. I don't want to make any money on this. And I'm going to lend you this money. I'm going to pay for the order. And the good thing is that in his line of business, he knows Madison Title and he knows who they are, and everybody just knew each other. So there was a trust factor over here, and he made sure that the mask was approved and everything was good. And luckily, he took every step. He was so involved in every step, even with the shipping. Now, how are you going to ship stuff over here? I didn't even know how to ship anything. 2 months before COVID started, I got a phone call from some Italian lady. And she said, yeah, we do shipping from China. I'm like, I don't do shipping from China. I'm like, this liaison in China, the Sky lady, she does all the shipping for me. Like, I'll just meet with you. I said, you know what? Okay, meet me on, when are you going to be in Muncie? She's like, on Friday, I'm going to be in Muncie. And I was just on the way back from Brooklyn. At 12:05, she called me. She's like, I'm in your driver. I'm like, I'll be there. We met for a minute. She gave me a business card and a pen. And that was it. And then that's who I used to actually bring all the goods in. It was like unbelievable that Shannon already set everything up months before. We had it all.
He was moving pieces on the chest.
He was moving the pieces. And because of our friend's involvement in knowing everything, every step of every detail to the T. And then my father passed away a few days before this shipment was supposed to come and arrive. And he handled everything from there. And I got a paycheck. I made like $100K from that order.
Wow.
It was ridiculous. And then, and I'll tell you another thing that happened.
So you did a lot of these types of deals?
We did. So then I started the whole COVID PPE stuff.
Right.
I didn't even know.
Involved during that time.
I got very involved. And Michael, you started buying stuff for me. I sold you a bunch of things. And I don't know if you know the story, but you had a guy, Yankee. I don't even know his last name. I haven't saved it. Yankee masks. Maybe
I have 100 people on my phone. Anki masks, Flamey masks, Ellie masks.
Oh, God.
Go ahead.
Anyway, along with this shipment, I decided to order 15,000 gallons. And they were very cheap quality, like 25 grams. There was nothing. It was a joke. And you're a Yankee guy. I mentioned it to him, or you mentioned it to him, and you said you're going to sell it to him for, I was going to sell it to him for $350 each. Okay? He's like, I'll take them all. We need it. Great. And I'm happy. And then you're going to be wowed by this story because you don't even know. And I just got up from Shiva, and a good friend of mine from Lakewood, he says to me, Tomer, I heard you have gowns coming in. Can I buy them here? I'm like, no, they're already sold. He's like, what are you selling them for? I'm like, $350. He's like, I'll give you $650. I'm like, okay. Yankee, I just got offered a lot more for these things. He says to me, Tomer, don't do this to me. He's like, I already have it. However, you guys were set up already to sell it to another nursing home that needed them. He's like, you gave me your word. I don't know. You didn't give me a deposit. So we hung up. He was a little upset. And then I sat there and I thought, I'm like, I literally just got up from Shiva. What would my father do? And I thought I went deep down to my soul and I said, my father would not he would not renege on his word. And I called Yankee and I told him, Yankee, it's yours. Wow. I'm forgiving for going. It was a tremendous amount.
Double the money.
And I needed it. So, and you know what happened? A week later, you ordered for me, and I made more than I would have made had I sold you had I sold the gowns to the
The additional orders.
Exactly, because you ordered more.
You didn't burn a bridge, and it paid off for you.
Exactly, and it didn't take a long time to see that.
COVID and PPE was crazy.
That was a madness, Michael. That was madness that time, and everybody was selling or buying at that point.
People get tested.
Yeah, that's crazy.
For me, it was a test.
Yeah.
It was a trend. No, I'm not saying this.
Oh, this particular incident. Yeah, of course. How much volume did you do through PPE? It was like crazy amount.
A lot.
Yeah.
I did a
one resort 200,000. I mean, imagine it was a little crazy.
By the way, it didn't evade me that the purchase order was $200K and he made $100K. Say, That sounds like a 50% margin to me. That's amazing. So you did this thing during COVID, which probably a lot of people did, and thank God. I think it's amazing that the private sector got involved because the government totally dropped the ball on this. Nobody had anything. It was wild. People have to step up. The
People
private
paying
sector really had to get
for a mask for the 3M. That was ridiculous. But anyway.
Well, I'm saying,
Yeah.
people has to have supplies.
Yeah.
To
So what happens next? So
So what happened there? COVID over, and I was like,
this is no longer.
the printing. I just kept doing for select clients. I was doing the servicing them because they were they're like, we don't know where to go, we don't know what to do. Okay, fine, I'll do it for you. They keep myself a little busy, and then this was a little over 2 years ago, and we're sitting. It was Sunday morning. I'm in shul, and a guy turns around, one of the mispalim in the Sephardic shul, and he says, I've been looking for an apartment in Tveria for over 3 years. I just can't make up my mind. I can't buy anything. He's like, I don't know why I can't seem to find anything. I told him, what's the big deal? I'll find you an apartment.
Are we getting to the real estate stuff now?
We are.
Ah, hallelujah.
We get it.
Hallelujah. I was waiting for that. I was like, when did this real estate Ask Tomer business start? I'm waiting for this point. And we're up to this point. It took us into 2 hours to get here, but here we are. Okay.
Funny, by the way, we zoom in on. Can you zoom in on this over here? Could you do this?
Oh, there it is. Ask Tomer. Ask Tomer.
It's just funny, everything through his life. Oh, you need a kidney? I got you.
Yeah.
Dish? I got you. You need a real
Unbelievable. He's a yes man.
Yes, man.
He's a yes man.
Lesson learned, by the way. Literally, teachable moment. You know how we used to do these teachable moments? Teachable moment. Be the yes.
Be the yes guy. You're missing out on life otherwise.
Just say
You're missing out on things. 100%.
Don't be negative. Be positive. Be positive. Always positive.
You're like, I got you.
Yeah. So I said, I'll find you an apartment. It was a big deal. I made a phone call to a friend, and he connected me with a broker over there, and he showed me an apartment. The guy literally fell in love with it. I was like, okay, what do we do next? I got a call that same day. It was Sunday afternoon. I got a call from a friend. He tells me, listen, there's an attorney from Israel over here, and he wants to meet with you because you're always making parties, you're always making events. He wants you to do host a home gathering and meet up with him. So I said, okay, give me his number. I'm like, this is great. We met on Monday morning in my house, and I was like, okay, by the way, I have a guy who's on the fence over here he wants to see. I found an apartment. We're going to need an attorney. He's like, great, okay. I want to learn more about this. Where can I? He's like, well, we're doing we have an event, an Israel Expo in Great Neck. Can I come? He's like, yeah, it's free. Come. I went there. I drove in. I told him, you know what? I think I should go. I went there and I met the mortgage broker and I met the guy who could do the power of attorney and I met so many developers and all that.
It's like a little mini conference.
Guys, in 2 weeks, this guy was under contract. And I was like, hold on. This was very easy. And why don't I create a platform to help Americans buy apartments in Israel? And then I started advertising it and started telling, I started hounding guys. And, one person, I'm thinking that this guy is going to be the one and he's going to buy, and it spiraled. It spiraled, and the Ask Tomer brand came into existence. Now, I used to just write Ask and then Tomer. If you want to know something, ask Tomer. Black ink, no inspiration, no nothing. I was just putting out tips on how to buy, and I was searching on the internet and so on and so forth. And thank God we closed with that. And I set him up with Airbnb so that he could make money on his Tveria purchase for $550,000, whatever it was. And he was making money. He was so happy. And he's still happy. And he bought another apartment, by the way. I have a few guys that are repeat clients.
For themselves, they're buying?
Yeah. For
a second apartment just to have there?
Just to have, because...
And they rent it out.
They'll rent it out. Real estate in Israel is always profitable, is always a blessing, and you can never go wrong when you're buying an apartment in Israel or a house or a villa or whatever it is. You could never go wrong.
In the whole country?
In the whole country.
There's no bad parts?
There's no bad parts.
Because there's all going up?
It's always going up. Go look in the history. Go Google it. Stefan, Google. Did Israel's real estate ever go down? No. Did it stabilize at some point? Yes. Is it going to continue going up? Yes.
You know how he knows? He asked Tomer.
Yeah.
So this is what you're doing now full time.
So now we're doing that full time.
I have to tell you, you took your energy of Ask Tomer, and he took his marketing background, his printing knowledge,
Yeah,
and he went crazy.
crazy.
Let me tell you how crazy he went. First of all, show us the sign that you have behind you, the AskTomer.com.
AskTomer.com.
He made this into a sticker. Okay, this sticker that you see here, AskTomer.com. I'm not kidding, Ring. I want you to know. Okay, all right, that's enough. That's enough.
Yeah. Put it away. Put it away.
I want you to know that I was davening at the hotel, and my son looks at me and he goes, AskTomer.com sticker on the hotel. I'm like, what? Are you kidding?
It's all over the place.
I was in a bathroom in Hebron. AskTomer.com. Your name is all over the place, and it's just amazing what you've been doing and how you.
How many apartments have you brokered in the last couple of years?
Over 20.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's pretty good.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
How does it work? If I want to get an apartment tomorrow, buy a house in Israel, is it similar to how it works over here as far as
Very different.
the mortgage, as far as the percent you have to put that? Like, is it easy to get a loan over there? Like, how does it work?
Okay. So first thing is identify the property. Are you going into a development where
You would help me with that.
Of
So
course.
I say, look,
Yeah.
I want to buy a home in Israel. I want to, have a vacation home there. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to get started. I call you. What's the first thing you do for me?
First thing is I'll ask you, do you know where you want to go?
No.
Okay, you don't know.
No,
But
no,
most people will not know where they want to go.
No.
Okay. Unless they knew. Unless the guy is like, I want to go to Bet Shemesh or I want to go to Jerusalem.
I know very little.
All right, it's very good.
I've been there 2-3 times in my life.
Second
If
question
you
I'll ask
I'd
you.
love to get a house there one day.
Okay.
So if I'm interested, what do you?
Second question I'll ask you is, what is your budget? Is it $500,000? Is it $2 million? Is it $5 million?
Okay.
You'll have guys that I had a guy I just met now on vacation. And he says to me his father wants to buy a 9-bedroom apartment in Rechavia. Now, if you know what that means,
Oh boy.
you're looking at $10 million by now.
No. That's
If I could afford it.
Let's say
So-
my budget's good, 100,000.
Okay, so if you're 500,000, so then I'll tell you. By the way, Jerusalem is
Nice apartment in Gaza.
yeah. No. You could start somewhere. Either let him go up. If you want Jerusalem for $500,000, I told you could donate it to the mirror, and they'll put a plaque over the bathroom.
No. I
Donate it.
don't know if I want Jerusalem. I want in Israel somewhere.
Yeah.
You tell me. But
So I would tell you.
I think, I'm sorry, one of the questions that you need to ask is why?
because I want to be able to go to Israel and have my own place.
So you want it to be anywhere?
I don't know.
Exactly. So the first
Do you want a beachfront?
you want to
Right.
ask yourself, why do you want to buy an apartment in Israel? Is it an emotional buy? Which it 99% is, in my opinion. And we can get to that.
Yeah.
You know, because although the property value 100%, I agree with you, Tomer, does go up in value. I've done the study and invested in Israel. It goes up in value equity-wise, but you're not profiting on a yearly basis. So it's not a great investment as far as a return on your investment in every single property you buy in Israel. There are plenty of investments that you could buy in Israel, don't get me wrong, but not everywhere. You can't just say, oh, I want to buy an apartment in Israel. Let me just buy something, I'll make money. So why do you want to buy an apartment in Israel?
I love Israel. I think it's a beautiful country. And I want to be able to go a little bit more, you know, now that I'm getting older. And I want to have a place where I can go.
In or around Jerusalem then, right?
Sure, it doesn't have to be.
In or around.
Within an hour drive to Jerusalem. Within a 45-minute drive to Jerusalem.
Have a setting of where to go.
Now we have a setting.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In an American area. I'd love to have something a little bit more modernized. Something more Western-like.
Right, right.
Right. So,
So projects.
there are definitely project with American. I mean, I wouldn't send you to Bet Shemesh anymore. I would tell you
The beautiful things.
go further out.
Put down a down payment. There's a very popular development strategy that someone who's buying an apartment in Israel, sorry, you can ask Michael also, I have some answers. He'll get back to that payment. Is that, you know, you could put 10% down, and then over the course of the next 2 years, or sometimes 3, as it's being developed, you give up to 30% more, and then you get a mortgage of 50%. That's a common process.
Okay, but let's assume that I find a place, and I guess you're going to start showing me pictures, right? You're going to start, I'm not going to actually have to go down there. And I find a place, and I like it, and I say, Tomer, I want to buy this. Okay, it's in my budget. It's $500,000. It's a great location. House seems great. I want to buy it. What happens next?
Registration form, deposit.
Registration form?
There's a registration form. Again, we're talking.
I'm not a citizen.
Yeah, you know, you're not a citizen, so you're not going through the process of an existing home, or we're talking about a development. So developments, you have a developer, and they need you to do a tofes al shama. That's the registration form. You'll fill it out, give us your passport, give me your license, and then I get the ball rolling.
Well, just to clarify, you're talking about a development that takes 2 years, right?
Under construction.
Not a purchase.
Yeah, let's talk about a house.
Immediate purchase?
There, yeah, it's an immediate purchase.
Immediate, okay,
Yeah.
fine, whatever it is. But let's say if it's an immediate purchase,
Yes, immediate purchase.
what I do is send your passport. I will provide you with the attorney. I will provide you with the power of attorney and the mortgage broker. Should you need a mortgage?
I need a mortgage, yes.
You're going to need a mortgage.
How do I get a mortgage? I have no credit in Israel. They don't know.
I'll tell you about that. It's very easy. Once you sign an agreement, we get you the power of attorney, the documents. Basically, you're allowing the attorney to sign on your behalf.
Okay,
you're not going there.
Yes.
Great. We have that. They schedule a signing of the contract, and you need to get a mortgage. What does it entail? Well, you need 2 years of tax returns.
American tax
returns. The banks look at your income only. They don't look at your expenses as they do over here. So
They just look at my income?
they just look at your income.
They don't care about how much expenses I have?
They don't care.
Because I could be in the red. I could be spending more than I'm earning.
They don't care. They need 3 months of bank statements. They want to see your credit score
Really?
just to see that you're a man.
So our credit score here matters there?
They're just looking to see that you have above 650.
Oh, okay. They don't have their own credit scoring system over there? They don't,
No.
In Israel?
No.
Really?
And once you provide that documentation, I know it sounds funny. You're like, okay, but it's easy to get a loan. And our standards here in America are much greater than the Israelis. So the Israelis are struggling to get a mortgage.
What type of percent is the bank offering? Like,
So
how
the
much?
bank gives you by default 50%. It's easy. You'll get 50%.
They give me 50%?
50% mortgage. So you have to put down 50. If you, that means you're putting down 250
okay. Yeah.
Okay, and you gotta
Understand why the banks are a little more
The bigger amount that I'm putting down.
Exactly. The reason why they're a little more lenient. There's a few reasons why I think they're a little more lenient. And
So there's
Tomer,
like 10, 20% over there.
Well,
There it's 50% you put down.
you'll tell me what you think about this thought process, because I thought about this a lot. The reason why they're more lenient about approving you for a loan is because A, they're only giving you 50%.
Okay, that
There are ways
I
to
didn't
get,
know that.
Yeah, there are ways to get an extra 10 or an extra 20 as a secondary mortgage. That's number one. Number two is they know the value in Israel keeps going up. So they know the
Not
equity is there.
leverage on the property.
They're
They need to take it back.
They also don't have American rules where if you don't pay your mortgage, you're out.
It's not New York City. You get a tenant out in like 19 years.
Exactly. And the lastly is, interestingly enough, everyone has to take a life insurance policy.
Right. A mortgage insurance.
Mortgage insurance.
That means the guy croaks, and the bank is like, okay, well, we're gonna cover.
They don't have problems with trusts and challenges with, family fight.
What kind of interest rates is going on over there in Israel?
5%, 6%, depending on the time.
Similar here. Very similar.
Yeah, a little bit lower actually.
A little lower here. Yeah. Now, yeah.
And you get approved in like 3-4 days. It's like that. You're done. You get the approval. We got the process going. We give the power of attorney to the mortgage guy. We give the power of attorney to the attorney. He signs on your thing. And obviously, we have to transfer funds to Israel. So we use Forex system to transfer the funds. And we simplified
Nice.
the whole.
What's the hottest place right now in Israel? Where are the young people going?
Gaza.
What's this Gaza business, Mike? That's awesome. You and Trump, you're trying to get Gaza going over there.
Yeah, but it's going to take some time.
Yeah.
But before then, you've got the young couples are going to, first of all, hottest place, Yerushalayim, Tel Aviv. For the non-religious, you have Tel Aviv. The religions, you have...
Well, Tel Aviv is one of the most expensive real estates in the world, by the way. Top 10.
Yeah.
Okay, so not everybody's going to Tel Aviv.
Yeah, we're not going to Tel Aviv.
There's like the practical places, up
The
and
practical
coming.
places, the affordable places would be in Bet Shemesh. That would be your first choice to go after Yerushalayim.
How far is that from Jerusalem?
25 minutes, roughly.
Okay.
Okay. And then there's surrounding neighborhoods and areas that even 20 minutes from Bet Shemesh, you have a place called Karmei Gat. For $450, $500, $600, you can get a beautiful apartment. And an all Anglo area, or you go a little up north.
Yeah, definitely 20 minutes to 30 minutes away from Jerusalem.
Yeah.
The prices go down. I think if you want to educate the listeners, it'll be a fun fact of how it works per square meter. So you have the pricing per square meter. Generally, an apartment, which is 100 square meters, think of it as 1,000 square feet as an apartment, right? So it's a 2-bedroom apartment, 100 square meters, right?
Right.
So the price per square meter in Jerusalem is $45 to 75,000.
Go up a little. Go up to 90.
Well, maybe on new developments, you mean? Yeah, on new. That's scary, by the way.
It is
so high, but it's very expensive. And when you go 20, 30 minutes out, it's half that. So you know, there's a tremendous advantage of going 20 minutes out if you're okay with that. I personally.
So if I'm the average, middle-aged American, kind of comfortable here, but
You are the average American.
both those things are true. Do you recommend that we start looking seriously into buying? Is like, what's the benefit? Like, sell me on it. What do you tell the typical person? Like, you got to buy a house or an apartment in Israel, and here's why.
So one thing is, I never go with the tactic of, oh my gosh, America is going to blow up, and you have to have a place to run.
Please don't, because you'll lose me if you do that.
Exactly. You're buying because you have a love of the land. And you're buying because there's also a mitzvah to buy. And I know you might say, oh, there's other mitzvahs I haven't done yet. Okay, fine.
Is that true? It's a mitzvah to buy a property in
It's a mitzvah
Israel?
to buy in Israel. The Shuv.
It's one of the 613 commandments?
Shuv Eretz Israel, yeah. I don't know if it's one of the 613.
No, it's
When there's the Beis HaMikdash.
Yeah.
Well, there's the mitzvahs for taking steps in Israel, even. I mean, so that in itself is
Right. But that's not, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
That's not one of the 613s. But the fact of Yishuv Haaretz, and you're gonna want to have a piece of the land. Then you have the skeptics, and they'll tell you, well, they're going to be giving away all the land when Mashiach comes. And I'll wait for Mashiach to come. Well, Mashiach is not paying your mortgage, number one. And in my humble opinion, when
Mashiach comes,
real estate,
all the people
triple.
exactly.
People that already own houses.
Waiting for Mashiach to come to tell me, oh yeah, I'll wait for that. Yeah,
That doesn't make sense, because like if Mashiach is just giving away properties, like what about the people that already own over there? Like they lose their houses?
Exactly, they lose their house.
That doesn't add up.
And then what about? And then you have those guys. And then I had, he tells me, remember you wanted to start a Mashiach fund? When Mashiach comes, where are you going to have money to pay for all the people that are getting up? They're going to need clothing, they're going to need food. Okay, so I had one guy, he says to me, what's going to happen with Reb Steinman when he gets up? And Reb Chaim Kanievsky, they got up, they're going to need a house because they sold their house already, it's not existing. So I own 5 apartments. They're going to tell me, oh, well, sorry, sir, you're going to have to give one apartment to the rabbi. And I'm not going to give it to the rabbi, so I'm going to lose. Like, you moron. Give the rabbi. You say again.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm giving away my apartment to a rabbi.
I'm struggling with life here in real time. I'm not worried about what's going to happen after the fact.
I think I said it earlier. It's a very emotional buy in general.
Yeah.
If you're connected to the country, the Holy Land, and believe in the process of the mitzvah and waiting for Mashiach. Why wait? Let's.
And I met a guy on a plane, and I said to him, would you want to consider, would you consider buying an apartment? He's like, I'm about to sign the 5th contract already.
Wow.
I have 4 apartments, and I'm buying.
So he's doing it as an investment at this point.
I think the message I would like to say is that you have to be able to afford it, obviously, and you have to be able to afford to not make money on that apartment. It's not something that, because
the rental is not going to come to your.
Say is ask Tomer.
Come, ask Tomer.com.
Tomer,
We're gonna wrap it. We're gonna wrap.
We
got
to wrap up. Yeah.
In just a second, we have a tradition of going through a lightning round, but I will tell you that I think that this entire podcast was a lightning round, and everything you said and so much we learned, and it was so beautiful. So I'm just gonna end with asking you honestly, who would you recommend as a good guest on the podcast? And I have to ask you, Rabbi Mansour. I mean, you mentioned his name a few times, and
he is our family rabbi. He is my rabbi. He is my role model.
Am I allowed to offer someone up for you? Is that something that's normal? I mean, I don't know, Ushy, can I do that? I don't know if that's in the rules of the None of Your Business podcast.
The rules are what we make them to be.
I want you to get Rabbi Mansour on the podcast.
That's the rules.
I think it would be fantastic.
Michael, we're the dictators of this show.
But I could bring another student of his on here. I'd love to call him.
Who's that?
His name is Meyer Safdie.
Okay.
And he has an organization called CARE for Special Children.
Okay.
Autistic children. And he opened up the organization, him and his wife. They have 2 autistic children. And they struggled with them for years, not knowing which schools to put them through and what benefits they could get from the government. And he opened up the organization to help other parents.
Enough said. Get him on the phone.
Get him on the phone.
Yeah. I love it. Well, Meyer, how are you? It's nice to meet you. We asked Tomer after the podcast, like we ask all of our guests, who's someone that you would recommend that would benefit and that we can grow with and can share their story. and he mentioned you. So it's nice to meet you, first of all. I understand that you're on vacation.
Yes, we're on vacation. The first thing that I love that you said you asked Tomer.
Ask Tomer.
You started off with the right words. You asked Tomer, so you're 1 for 1 off the bat.
Wow.
Second of all, I actually I've met several times with, I guess it's your brother David.
Yes.
We've met several times. Baruch Hashem is a great guy. He's a very gifted man, and I'm grateful to know him. So and Tomer is a good friend, and he recommended that we speak. So. Yeah, we're on board, and I appreciate the call.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so we're going to schedule it when you get back, and we're sorry to bother you on vacation, but it's really nice to speak with you.
Not a worry. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, and continue your great work. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All the best.
Great.
Wow.
Nice.
Tomer.
What a guy.
All right, everybody,
Incredible.
don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, get involved. We are sponsored by the Serenity Center in Rockland County. Therapy is a real thing, and it's recommended to everyone, especially if you don't have to pay for it and insurance covers it. That's amazing. Wow. And thank you again, of course, to the Prime Source production team for doing such a fantastic job. Stefan, Will, Kim, Skylar, everybody on the team. You guys are amazing. That's a wrap. Have a great day, everybody.
Michael.
Bye-bye.
Wait. Don't.
What happened? What happened?
Michael, you are a people's person.
Yeah.
You asked me to find you a guy to come to your podcast.
Yeah.
I'm asking you to call someone now and tell him, I want you to buy an apartment. You are going to make the best decision of your life.
Look at this guy. I love him.
I love it. I love it.
awesome, right
That's
here.
what you need.
Yeah,
that is 100% what you need. Ooh.
Great.
I would love to buy an apartment.
All right, fantastic.
Whoa, one second. I have a guy for you. Ushy.
Yeah. No commissions here. I'd like that to be taken off, please. Okay, but not at the moment, but in the very near future.
So I think I'm done with this.
Edit that out.
Exactly. Have a nice day.
All right.